Hello, I'm Lara,
I'm Maddie, and we design escape rooms for learning across various contexts.
and today we're challenging ourselves to design a random escape room based on these three prompt dice and see how far we can get in a 10-minute sprint. So the first one is a context dice. Second is who our learner is, and then our purpose, business process.
It's easy whenever I hear community to go to community training programs. And I was thinking about folks who are looking to advance or seek additional careers, training around how to become conference organizers. So a little bit of a flip on that, that maybe they're not already conference organizers. And so creating this escape room could be exploratory to help folks understand what the role of a conference organizer is. I was thinking that we could introduce people to the business process of a conference organizer. So that's where my brain got. I'm not sure if I love it yet.
The thing that first came to mind is this idea of there are a bunch of different types of community. There could be a community of practice within a university system. And so it's people in different departments who are responsible for organizing conferences. And it's around business processes for conference organizing within that university system. So things like compliance, things like setting up guest accounts for access to different systems, things like reimbursement for travel for bringing in speakers.
Yeah, what if we rolled with that one?
So, our learning purpose is to help conference organizers learn insert business process here.
I think it'd be smart of us to start with isolating a single business process, making sure that we're approaching that business process from multiple perspectives and or multiple layers, so that they're practicing whatever it is that we're isolating. So to make a decision, what would you say to us going down the road of budgeting? So I think we get into the process and sort of the dynamics of budgeting, and that larger conversation of prioritization. So, if I prioritize one thing, that means I can't prioritize as much another, right? So really having that conversation around just how complex budgeting can be because of all the tensions of every single area. So I think that could be fun because I could see us designing puzzles that afforded players the space to like make decisions and quote unquote fail, right? But with that
Mhm.
safety net of realizing that they can always go back and make a different decision and see how that impacts the long-term play.
So we've got some replayability going on in our design. Um, and with puzzles and situation, we've got this sort of branching story based on player decisions.
At least in my experience, part of why budgeting is challenging is, especially within a conference system, is like I'm not just dealing with myself, right? There are other stakeholders involved. So these different stakeholders have different incentives, different motivations, different things that they're prioritizing themselves. I'm having to navigate all these different complexities, including the stakeholder relationships, to actually get a sense of the budget.
Yeah, so with multiple stakeholders, how would you feel if we play as a team with different roles? One possibility is to bring in like a surprise, um, halfway through you encounter something unexpected. There's a flood and the space you had reserved is no longer available. And so you have to choose between a comparable space that's really expensive at the last minute and a less ideal space that meets your original budget versus shifting things around. Um, you get a surprise sponsor out of nowhere and suddenly you've got more funds to play with. Um,
Yeah, I like that as well. It was very realistic. For the drama, I'm feeling,
mhm.
and not that every escape room has to have drama, but really good story. Give them a sense of time so that they're really having to negotiate these things quickly, which again, usually you have more time than just 30 minutes, right? But if we were to
Yeah.
have some sort of tight timeline, I think it adds that sense of pressure. I like that time pressure.
Mhm.
So it creates a little bit more emotion, which I do think is reflective in the actual scenarios we're talking about.
Yeah, and I like the idea you mentioned earlier of cyclical play because the time pressure and the knowledge that you could do it again will hopefully make playing with the stakes more fun.
I think what's also nice about, right, like imagining this escape room being something that folks, companies, communities of practice like this would want to use is it sort of creates this environment of playful imagining. And what I mean by that is like we're sort of imagining potential case scenarios. Again, not to say that all of them would happen in the way that we expect them to in the stories that we design for this escape room, right? But you do get to say the what if. And the what if in a safer environment where then like the dialogue that would happen naturally in the community of practice, let's say there's a point of reflection on the escape room, maybe they play multiple times. And then the purpose of that, right, is that they come together as a community of practice and then discuss how those decisions had an impact, what it led to, right? So then that's where the actual application to their real lives, affording the learner in that space, which is the conference organizer, sort of that playful, like, yeah, what if I made this decision?
Mhm.
And not having to do that in your actual working context.
And it allows you to give each of the stakeholders voice in each of the hypotheticals that you navigate down.
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming along with us on this little bit of a sprint, this challenge we've given ourselves today. If you're interested in building your own educational escape room or learning more about how to design escape rooms specifically as forms of experiential learning, we offer a free strategy session, escape room strategy session. So our contact information is in the description. Feel free to reach out. And we'll see you for our next dice roll.
Yeah, see you next time.